New Year, everyone. This is Michelle Oliver. I'm here with Pete Ambrosino.
Nice to see
And
everybody.
what?
Nice to see everybody.
Oh, nice to see everybody. Yes, nice to see everybody. And we are here talking coaching. So raw and real. Basically, Pete, what would you call it? We're talking behind the scenes coaching, right? We come every week, we share what went on in real life with our clients in the hope of really serving and helping everyone out there because everybody's dealing with something. So we are here to talk about what's really happening and strategies and insights that we hope will serve you.
And it's what's really cool about it is we get on a little bit ahead of time, and we have this before the show conversation, and it's so good because we're like, oh, this happened with my client, and this happened with me, and I'm seeing it, and then we talk about societal issues and some things that are going on, and relate the personal and the kids and the family dynamic with the holidays just getting over and the start of the new year. We talked about a bunch of things, and what really comes down to is what Michelle is a master at is diving into the personal aspect of what could be in the way with her clients that she loves, or women that are in business, that might stop them from progressing in their business. And then the funny was, I'm thinking, oh, we're going to come and we're going to talk and ask people about exit strategies. Well, wait a minute. There's so many things that have to happen way before that. So, Michelle, I would love to hear what happened in your world this week, over and above what we've already talked about, because it was all good.
Yeah, we actually talk so much that we almost miss going live. We almost forget, oops, we're here for a reason. So, okay, yes, we covered so much. Let me just say, my clients this week, I feel like they're all my children. I am so proud of every single woman that I'm working with. And honestly, it's due to what you said, that we were talking about all the tense and the things that happen, the drama over the holidays, and each one of them was able to hold on to one thing that mattered. So let me give you an example. The women that I'm working with are often sandwiched in the middle of their parents have failing health. They have adult kids. Some of them even have grandkids. And somehow or another, how do I say? It's just the truth, okay? That women do it all. They just do it all. Yeah. So they keep thinking they can do it all. And then the things that fall on the wayside are, to your point earlier, if you're trying to build a business, your business goes off to the side, or building it the way that you should in order for it to really thrive, or your health, and that could be emotional health or physical health. The first thing we do is not go to the gym, then we start eating wrong, or maybe we have a drink, and then the drink leads to chips, and then the chips leads to what the hell, and then you're down the rabbit hole, right? So this is something that is so common with all of the women I deal with. It's like, how do I, and then when we go back to what do you want? It's like, wait a second, this is so weird. It's the same thing I wanted 6 months ago or a year ago today. And what got in the way of that, right? Yeah. And it's usually being pulled in all these different directions with crisis, that you can't control a crisis. Like when someone's in the hospital, you show up for that, right? So this falls actually beautifully into your exit strategy notion, because when you have the bigger picture, which requires perspective and, long, what do you call it? Like a long view of why am I doing this? What am I doing? And what are the steps for the long view? Then you have things in place. So when the crisis comes up, but when you're a woman who's just saying, hey, okay, my husband died, or he left me, or I left him, or whatever, and here I am, or I'm in a new marriage, like all these transitions. Kids are grown, kids are not, I'm taking care of my grandkids, all these variables, juggling. Gosh, I want to start a business.
Yeah.
Right. So you're in that, trying to figure that out, and you're trying to overcome the doubt and insecurity and uncertainty of that.
Yeah.
And then a crisis pops up. What are you going to drop?
That's right. So it's the toughest thing. And you know, to your point, I have a superwoman client that you were just describing. She does everything for all of her family. You know, and when we were tying in exit strategy and talking about, you know, the question that I wanted to bring was something around, if you were planning for an exit strategy, what goals would you need to accomplish? How would you run your business differently right now? No matter when that is, right? And what just happened was this superwoman just left for a 6 or 8 day trip. Business was up and running. The schedule was 50% fuller by the time she got back than when she left. So they upsold work and so forth.
That's good.
Yeah, it was really, I mean, there were so many wins. There were so many things that the staff did well. However, this one move was the front desk person. There was never a system or a process, or because she's superwoman, she does this automatically whenever she goes up to the schedule and says, okay, we can break off these folks because there's nothing for them to do this afternoon. Let's get them off the clock and reduce our overhead until tomorrow is going to be a busier day. So let's manage our cash flow, right? Well, that's what happened. It never got downloaded from her brain.
Oh.
As she automatically did this every day, it was like instantly come up, look at the schedule, about noon, let's see how the afternoon plays out, and then we'll let this person slide out or stay late, whatever needs to happen. And that one move that was not properly delegated bit her in the butt. So, but there was so many good things that happened with the staff, and so many things that happened positive wise with the clients. But it's that thing. It's like, okay, what if I'm not here in my business for a day?
Yeah.
Who does that thing that I do so well that I've not actually downloaded that process, right? If I do have to drop and go.
Yes.
So that's what kind of came up, and it was like it is, even though it's such an easy fix, it sat us back in our chair and be like, wow, we never, you know, this person in the front desk, this is what they should be doing because they're filling the schedule. They do sales, they're selling appointments, they're interacting with the clients coming in and out. Surely they should be responsible for the schedule for these folks.
You know what just came to my mind? I actually really love this conversation. I didn't think I would, because I as we were talking earlier, I was thinking,
yeah, you're like, oh, this is bad. This is just
strategy.
Talk about it.
No, but it's so funny because I don't want to really freak people out around going back to, you know, raising kids, but what's hitting me here is oftentimes our thinking is just too contracted and too small. So when we go into anything, this is just what hit me. And I think this is really big, that anything we step into and want to create, a business, a health regime, you know, a relationship, a family, if we really allow ourselves to think big around it and feel big into it,
yeah,
that's when you start thinking about. So when you were saying exit strategy, I was thinking no one's there yet. But the fact is, if you go into it with the intention of the exit, right? The end in mind. And even with raising children, if you think of it like I remember this crazy little book I used to read to my kids about this, I mean, it's kind of weird. I don't want to bring it up actually, but anyway, it's this bunny that's raising all these children, right? And the guy and everyone said, all you can do is raise your children. But she organized everything in such a fashion that she was able to go out and do all these other amazing bunny things. So the fact is that if you look at it that way, even with kids or employees, which are not that dissimilar, by the way, and if you're always training them as if they are going to run the entire business, like the business is yours. And this runs into culture as well, because if you are really empowering them and they are bought into it, they are going to have foresight. They're not going to be contracted into my job or my position or my role. It's like we are building a business, right?
Exactly. And then now you're showing and investing into them and giving them some growth, because they're not there for just a paycheck. They want to grow, learn. And if you start giving them responsibility and trust and, give them the ability to mess up and not come down on them like the wrath when something bad, or something not ideal happens, and you use it as a learning moment or a teaching moment. Because I said to her, I said, my God, what an amazing experience this was. You left your business for 8 days and it grew.
Yep.
The back end got a little hiccup, okay, because we had more costs than we would have preferred, right? But that's it. That's the only bad. And it wasn't anybody's neglect. It wasn't anybody's, there was no point in the finger. It was like, oh, wow, I just never trained this, or I never said, hey, to the person at the front, how would you do this? What would be your thinking right now at this time of the day with this amount of workload? What would you do with your staff?
Great. Yeah, it is a great learn. And it's just the way we learn as humans, right? We have pain and then we learn. And it sounds like what every mother learns when she leaves her kids for a weekend. Oh, they grew in their independence and it was good. And they don't need to be so dependent on me. And that's good for all of us. Another thing that comes to mind is that when you are a solopreneur, you're offering some kind of service, like maybe you are a ghostwriter or, excuse me, maybe you're I don't know, there are millions of things, right? Maybe you're a coach. Yep. The way you do that is through automation and systems. And how many times have we had hours of meetings with people trying to figure out like what happens next in a business, like with independent people, solo people, or people that just have one or two other people. And the answer really is always get rid of it. Get rid of the thing that you're talking about for 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like get a VA, get a system in place. Quit focusing on all that stuff. And I know for me that is every time a new business is started, you do have to kind of be in the trenches initially, because you've got to know how to train. You've got to know what your needs really are.
Well, it's like 20% of what you do is actually creating 80% of your revenue.
Yeah.
If I can gradually teach and, accept a little errors here and there and not expect that everybody has to do it as well as I do, that's a tough transition. I mean, there's another client that is actually had a huge aha moment around that, where, he's duplicating himself.
Yeah.
And now he's seeing the fruits of what is possible by duplicating himself. Because to your point, I can tell if you tell me what numbers in your business you're responsible for, I can tell you where you are in the organizational chart of your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the plan is, okay, how can we get those responsibilities? What can I shift to a VA? What part of it can I kind of leverage and get some help with and be okay with 75% of my efficiency, 75% of my results? Be okay with that, right? It's hard.
Well, yeah. Well, honestly, this is the part that really excites me because when you go back, and everything in my mind goes back to values and vision. Because when you start with that and you really dig into that for anything you're doing, then you are able to understand the end picture. It's like, this is why I'm building this business. This is what I really want. You were talking about building wealth and legacy, and I was like, that's too big and too far. But in fact, that's what will allow your mind to perceive that 75% of what you're delivering is 75%. And that's what's going to get you there. It starts with you being 100%. But how many of us can be me being 100% all of the time? It's just impossible.
And now you have to be 100% as a woman in business. You have to be 100% for your business. You have to be 100% for your kids. You have to be 100% for your husband or spouse. You have to be, it is mind-blowing because guys just don't do things that way. I can shut it off at the end of the day, mark what I'm doing, go and do this, because I can put that, like we talked about this before. Guys put things in a box and they shove them off to the side, deal with that later. Not a big deal. I can open that up when I feel like it.
It's a beautiful quality. And by the way, many of the women that I have as clients who have gotten to a higher level with like multiple locations and things like that, they have that ability. Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, many very successful women in business are able to compartmentalize. I think it's a tremendous skill. I think it's like anything. It can also be your ultimate downfall in your relationships or whatever, because there is this central core balance that we have to, and again, I know I don't believe that the balance thing will produce anything, but there is like an internal equilibrium that you have to be able to return to spiritually to enable you to do all of this stuff. So it's not like one way or another is better, but certain skills, like the ability to compartmentalize, that's what allows you to be successful.
Giving yourself the permission to say, okay, this week, these are not priorities. I can pick that up. If I focus on these couple things this week, I give myself the relief and the permission to say no to these other things right now, and feel good about it. Because it's like, okay, hey, this week was super busy. I had loads of meetings and I really didn't get home to see my kids or spend time with my significant other.
Yes. And, I do want to go back to this sharing about my clients from the week and why I'm so proud of them, because we took one thing for each person that was going to matter through the holidays, just one thing, because I knew everything was going to fall apart. I knew there were distractions and travel and family and all that holiday stuff coming. Oh, yeah. So they each one of them took one thing. Some was in business, some were in health, some were in relationships, all these things, right? One simple thing. And every single one of them succeeded. There was one of my clients, I thought this was amazing. Like in the middle of the holidays, in the middle of, I think she was traveling too. And she was separated from some of her family, actually from her husband. I think she was with her grandkids and some of her kids. Anyway, it was all craziness, right? Dealing with I can't even admit, dozens and dozens of big issues in business and family and all of this. And her thing that she's wanted for so long has been weight loss. And what she did the entire time for 30 days is no alcohol. That in and of itself is a miracle, because she was drinking a couple of drinks every single night to deal with the stress of all the stuff she's dealing with and being alone and doing it, right?
Yeah.
And then because of the alcohol, not drinking alcohol, we all know how that affects our eating. So she was able to then, I mean, this to me was like the ultimate. I was
monumental. Yeah.
This was the monumental thing, was this.
Sure.
They went out for Mexican food and she didn't eat chips and salsa. And I'm like, wow, you're my hero. How did you do that? She's like, it's because I didn't have any, I mean, you have a margarita and then you have salt and then you have spice and then you have fat and then you have to keep going for it, right? Oh, yeah. So these are the simple building blocks to self-control and self-discipline that allow you to build confidence and take the next step. I mean, it seems so simple.
It does. And you know what? And this happened this week. You touched on what our values are and how important our values are, right?
Yep.
So an exercise that I love to do, and it was part of what we talked about the other week, was at the end of the year, having the gratitude piece that we do, right? But then looking at everything, I gave them a huge list of values to pick out. And this client actually took all that we've talked about over the past year, and it hit him like a brick when he really added up all the lives that he affected.
Oh, wow.
Michelle, the end result, I was so proud of him. The end result was that his mission statement was finally formed. He knew, and we talked in concept what it was, but your mission statement takes all of your highest values, and I'm talking top 3. Because I know I've got 10, 12 of them easily that I value, but the top 3 that brings emotion.
Yep.
And it answers all questions.
Yep.
So you add that into the culture of your company.
Oh yeah.
Empower your staff to make decisions. Hey, what's our primary question that we ask ourselves? What are we really here doing? Right. And it was beautiful. I mean, he got so, and what happened was everything else with the intentions and the goal setting with his staff, because we can come down with the staff and say, hey guys, I'd like to do an extra 400,000 in revenue this year. What do you think? And everybody's, oh yeah, let's do that. Okay, great, go get them, Tiger. That's not how we do goals.
Yeah,
right?
No,
it can't. You're right. To me, we got to get them to listen. Hey, here's our mission.
Of course. Well,
right. How does that relate? What would you guys like? How do you see the goals this year?
I mean, this is my favorite. This is my sweet spot. I love doing that because it has nothing to do with you.
No.
And the way to build a really, really healthy culture is to understand what your people want in their own lives. This is why, honestly, I love the idea of, I did want to talk about this at some point. I love like what Mike Kelly does with and Kate Volman with the Dream Manager, because when you have an internal, it depends on the size of your business and like how you're doing things, but a coach inside of your organization, and that is people. I mean, this is becoming a really common thing now where you have a coaching culture. Right. And that really gives, inside the organization, a place for people to come. And the idea is you're identifying what matters to them, what's going on in their lives. You're giving them a platform and a safe environment where they can really talk about, you're coaching them, who they are, what they want. And when their dreams are tied to the business, and then there's a connection to the purpose of the business,
look out.
This drives everything. I mean, it really does. And to me, it's the secret of all success. It's like, where is the real core of this? That is the type of thing that makes obstacles dissolve. Because you're fighting like blades of grass, you know, and you don't even know it. So yeah, it's I totally agree with you. That's why always we spend a lot of time on values, and I agree, it's always the top 3. It is. And within those are, you know, more. So yeah.
And when the misperception of coaching is not that we're there on the sidelines telling you and identifying all your weaknesses and so forth, but the power of a coach is that if I can coach you and you can embrace some of these things and implement them in your daily routine, your responsibility as the leader in your organization is to do that for your team. Do exactly what I'm doing with you. I want you to duplicate it with your team and open up those conversations, sit down with them and say, hey, what's your goal? You know, what do you want to do personally in your life? How is what we do here match what you do in your personal life when you go home, you know? Or maybe your goal is to, you know, pay off your mortgage in 10 years or something like that. And I can offer you, and I've got some financial tools as a business owner or some people that I can connect you with, some resources, and I can get you there in 5.
I mean, yeah. So here's the thing. Sorry, I just bought myself some more time. So I didn't mean to. No, I didn't want to have to cut our meeting short because we're just getting into it. So I just bought myself another few minutes. Awesome. So yeah, this is the whole thing. Like, if you are a people-centric business, and that will make it work. I mean, I cannot emphasize enough how taking care of your people is what builds your business. And
most
it's
don't
really
understand what that really means.
What?
Most don't understand what that really means.
Well, this is why, you know that I'm doing this. I have another business that is in hospitality. It's not any different than what I do here or with women or the coaching I've done. It's just in a very specific sector. And every single day I say to my business colleague, my partner, this is so obvious. Like, this is how I live. I don't understand why everyone isn't doing this. And we have this every single day. I think I say to him, this is ridiculous. Like, no one's going to not already be doing this. And he says just what you said, people aren't doing it. And it blows my mind because every business I have built was only that. It was only that. And everything else served that.
Michelle, imagine with everyone that just got a taste of what it was like to work remotely in the hospitality business. Imagine if half of them just didn't want to come back to their location and said, no, I'm just good with.
Half of them don't. That's actually a legit real thing.
So the antithesis of that is, I want to create a business that people can't wait to come in and be around the team, be around the environment and the culture and what we're ultimately doing as a business, not only serving our clients, but serving the mission.
Exactly.
Because the clients may not be the mission. That's what's so super powerful. There could be some bigger story about why this business exists that the owner may have not shared. And that's why I was so proud of my client, because his mission does include affecting the lives of his clients that he loves, but ultimately the bigger picture is a higher calling. And it blew his staff away when he came to the meeting at the end of the year and ran down all of the accomplishments that their company has made. His staff had no idea. It was so cool to watch.
Yeah, I mean, then they realize they're living for something. People need a purpose, right?
That's right. It makes such a difference, because when there is something that's bigger than, if you're a part of something that's bigger than you and the company, then it's super impactful to let that solve most of the problems in the company become smaller because there's a bigger picture. Oh my gosh, I have to solve this conflict with Susie over in HR real quick because we've got people to save in this other country, or we've got wells to
exactly. It becomes inconsequential. And that's what I mean about we trip over blades of grass.
Yep.
And it's only because we don't have enough certainty about the actions that we need to take.
Yep.
And when every employee perceives that they are part of a big dream that also serves their own dream, it's an entire.
For sure. I love it. Well, I think we covered a ton in a short period of time today. We could go on, and I think we should probably pick this up next week, and still, maybe I could get permission to actually share the mission of my client. I will ask, because I typically, telling the stories and sharing the experiences is about the limit that I would go with that. But if he would give me permission, that would be really cool to share. So
yeah, that'd be really cool. I mean, I think that the way it always has been for me is that when I see a group of, I don't know, it's just like, this is how I've built businesses, is looking at the people around, and then you're like, oh, something needs to be solved here. We need, I mean, it could be a million different things. For me, it was like people, I had a home care business where people want to stay in their home as they age. They don't want to have to go to a, whatever you want to call it, a facility or whatever. Excuse me. So that business, I mean, building a school, everything I've done. Okay. Restaurant, entertainment, whatever. And those people, there is a problem. So you have to solve the problem, right? That becomes the service. Yes. And then those people, I don't know, you can just feel what they need. Yep. So you dig in deep and you serve everybody, excuse me, that is involved. Everybody needs to know that they can fulfill their dream by knowing you. Yep. To me, that's how it is. It's like, if you are with me, you're going to get what you want. If you're one of my employees, if you are a customer, if you are a client, that's what being involved in this means. And your goal could be so far outside of what we're doing here. But by the time we have a conversation, you're going to understand how your dreams are going to come true through this association. I mean, that's, to me, like just healthy relationships. Yep. It's not about using other people to hit a certain revenue.
No. And that's what's so, you know what, and that's the secret little agenda that I have, because that's my fulfillment right there. That's my payoff, is when I can affect the life of that business owner, and he's affecting the lives of his staff, or she is affecting the lives of the staff. And then that staff goes out and has the whole ripple effect. and seeing what it actually does. And then even further out, the mission, what the mission drives, and how my little coaching piece has such a big ripple effect on, call it humanity or helping others. Because if I help 10 other businesses, imagine the real impact that we're having by helping those business owners help others. It's crazy.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be like, this is the thing that I think a lot of employees don't, just like we were saying before, give it everything because they don't believe that their impact is big enough.
That's true.
You don't have to be like donating millions of dollars to someone. You can simply, this is why hospitality is so exciting, because you know that every moment you have the opportunity to change a whole, trail of lives by smiling, by presenting something before the person realizes that they need it, by being kind, by being generous, by just expressing all of these caring actions in everything you do, and you think that way and you continue to act that way, every person changes. But most people just think, oh, here's the operations manual. This is what we have to do. They're so tied into the mundane that they're disconnected. So it needs, I really believe in bringing much more play, much more fun, much more freedom.
Totally.
Freedom is my top value. So when I'm training or coaching, it's like, what does freedom mean to you? I'm always aware of that, just because that's my number one top value. And you can bring those things into everything you do, and those impact others and others and others. So even though you're not saying, okay, I'm donating, $10 million or whatever, you still matter.
Yeah. See, that's the intangible part of it, because I can create a tangible. And when my clients hear from me that, my report card is your P&L statement, well, that we can touch, we can measure, we can see, right? But what they can't is the intangible that you're talking about. How did I affect your life? How did we cause your business to affect the lives of so many? And you can't measure that.
You can measure it. I'm going to disagree with that, because I think that's what makes people buy from you. I think it directly affects the bottom line. I mean, I know what you're talking about, that in terms of like giving, like impacting organizations and stuff like that. But, and it is intangible in that sense, but every conversation you have, that's what generates revenue. It is values that generates revenue. That's what it is.
It could be a reason that I choose to do business with you, because you have those values.
Right.
Okay,
exactly. And people are wanting this more and more and more. They don't want it. People are sick of marketing, right?
Oh yeah.
We are savvy. We understand when we're being manipulated. We're tired of it. We want true, genuine interaction with people. So every time, we're talking about generations, like my youngest son's generation, whatever generation is that is, I forget all the numbers, I think Z or something. They purchase intentionally from companies who align with their values.
Yeah, no, that's big.
There's no other reason to buy anything.
Yeah, no,
they're not going to go to Target or Walmart or something like that. They're not buying on discounts or price. They're looking for a reason, a purpose. And I think this is going to be more and more and more and more. And we know that really successful businesses who are solid in their purpose, they are attractive like a magnet. It's not like just the the token, hey, you do business with me because we give 10% to, dreams come true or whatever. That is old news. Like, everybody knows you're just doing that. So we do more business with you. But when you're really living it and breathing it, and all of your staff, it's impossible not to engage, because people want that. So yeah, I think that's what I'm saying when it's like, that's, to me, is how you build a business. It's based on what you're calling the intangibles. It's how you feel.
Yes.
How do you feel when you're having a conversation with me? How do you feel when you walk into my business? How do you feel when you're checking in or checking out? How do you feel when you give me $10,000? You feel good about it, or are you resisting it?
Yeah, that's a great point. And you know what? It's so, it's funny, because there's so many ways that, as a guy, we can maybe shut that off a little bit and get down to business and brass tacks, and, get down to the outcome of the business transaction. And we can easily forget about what the bigger picture is. And when we're brought back around to that, and I don't know if it's a generational thing or not, but it's I think it might be a stage of life thing too. But what's so cool about it is, when we were talking earlier and you were saying how your kids, you have no question about their values around family, right? And that's super important right now, because the opposite perception is true externally right now. People are worried about the family unit, what the family is going to look like in 15 years, right? Or in 10 years for the next generation. But if our business is picking something and can show this generation more the values and share with them, and actually ask and give a crap about how they feel about what you're doing as a company, that just does nothing but bring it together even closer.
Yeah, everything is a relationship.
Yeah.
I remember being shut down on that many, many times by people. They laugh at me, say, stop talking about relationships. I'm like, how can you stop talking? Businesses are made out of people. Anytime one person interacts with another, that is a relationship. and anytime someone makes you feel bad, you don't want to have that relationship. It's really that simple. So the better I feel when I'm interacting with you as a business or whatever, the more I want to be around you. And you have an opportunity as a business owner to create a family environment based on value.
That's key right there. That's a great takeaway for today, because you're really not creating the grand scheme of it, or the bigger picture is, you are creating a work family environment that has an outcome in a bigger picture. And when you tie in the mission statement, you tie in the values, and you really hit those heartstrings of why we deal with all the problems and challenges of the day to day, and it makes them minor compared to whose lives you're really affecting on the outside. Freaking powerful.
These are the stories of the people that won't leave when you can't pay them.
Oh yeah.
And these are the stories of, gosh, we really, because think of how many people want to run away, or they're waiting for Friday or whatever, or that's why it's so weird to me. That Monday. Yeah, I'm good.
You okay?
Yeah, because I made a mistake, so I'm good.
Okay.
I made a mistake on my calendar in favor of this. So we can, I know we can wrap it up, but basically the idea, I know there are many, many takeaways, and I hope this is valuable for people. I just think there's a lot of hope and opportunity and possibility, because you can step out and create it any way you want to. And
Here's
when
the
you
thing, Michelle, if anybody sat through this and watched this whole thing through, they're going to get the point of why coaches do what they're supposed to do and pull you out of the day to day and get in the bigger picture and what's really important. That's really what we're doing. That's the dirty secret right there.
perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bigger perspective, and to understand your possibility. And then all the stuff that you talk about too, like there are very just practical strategies and systems and stuff that need to be put in place. But all of those, as long as you carry that central core, you're going to figure it out. But honestly, doing it without a coach, it's just hard. It's just unnecessarily hard. Or a mentoring group or mastermind or whatever.
Yeah, if you can't get a coach, I mean, not everybody can afford having a one-to-one coach. That's why we do our masterminds. That's why we bring in a group setting, because now you've got a mastermind with 6 different perspectives on your challenge that you're dealing with this week. How cool is that?
I really think we should bring someone on next week and have some people share what they're, if anybody's brave enough to do that, have them share like what is really going on with their business or in their life. And we can just, I mean, we're not going to like attack you. I'll shut up and pull back a little bit, but we really do want to serve you. And sometimes just having that attention for a few minutes can really, really change everything. A lot of it is about the energy exchange that happens in coaching. And when you're this is the physical part too, like when you're in an environment where everybody's growing and changing, like you talk about your mastermind often, you just see more possibility. You're just able to lift out of your blades of grass more readily, and it's more fun.
It is more fun. And you know what, if somebody brings in a hot potato that day that is so big, it could take up the entire time of the mastermind, but at the same token, everyone is getting out of it, oh my God, if this is happening in my business, this is how I need to step by step take care of it. It's so powerful. It's not, and that's why we come with a giver's heart. But
I know you have such a big heart, Pete. And that honestly was the thing, the first time we spoke, it is so apparent that you have the business strategy and all of, the experience and all of that, which really matters. And at the same time, just a big heart. And so I just want to call that out. Thank you for being here.
I love that. Yeah.
Well, it's all great. The difference. It makes all the difference in the world.
It does. Because it does. I mean, that's what fills me up every day. That's for sure. That's what makes me. And you know what? Hey, what's great about it too is when I go to my own mastermind, guess what I'm getting out of it too? There's things in my business that I'm thinking, oh, I'm coaching these people on it. I need to walk this walk too.
Oh, completely.
We
all need reminders.
We all need the reminders, right? That's the funny part about it. But so awesome. What a amazing week, Michelle. We covered a ton of information. I love the fact that most of you stuck with us on to this point, because we tend to go long. It's not the shortest podcast on, for sure. But
no, but it's good because you don't have to watch it. It's good for us. And awesome. If one person, just like we were talking before, if one person pops in at any period of time and gains, that's the entire point. And then benefits and shares and grows. And maybe I'll reach out. I don't know if any of my clients are bold enough to come on.
I'm going to see too. I've got some people in mind that might want to pop in.
It would be so fun, actually. I'm not really sure if they would, but I will put it out there. And there might be someone in one of my networking groups though. So
Hey, just, you know what, send us an email, send an email to either Michelle or myself, and we'll be happy to bring you on, and we'll just do it impromptu, no prep.
Yeah.
Just dive right in. Let's
Yeah,
go
it's
real
fun.
raw.
We're really nice, actually. So send us a direct message. And Pete, it's so fun. And you really made my day, because I was like, why aren't people back at work yet? How can they be taking another week off? Why are they
Right.
procrastinating? And so maybe today is the new Monday, which Fridays are never my favorite days. Mondays are always my favorite days because I flip it. I don't know. So you made my Friday just spectacular, and I am so
Look forward
grateful.
to our
Thank
time
you.
together. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah,
See
it'll
you
be
next
a
week.
great weekend. Okay, Happy New Year, everyone. Ciao.